Hey everybody, back again. It's actually Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving everybody. My duty for today is not only to eat and watch football. Let me fix my hat. But I gotta make mashed potatoes. My mom's cooking the rest, so gonna do a little mashed potato episode. So last night I cut up my potatoes. I bought like 4 big russet, and I just cut them into like quarters. They're big potatoes, and I've just got them in some cold water. Make sure you give them a good rinse. There's obviously a lot of starch already in the potatoes, but a couple of rinses in cold water will just help them not be so gummy. So we'll get these cooking on the stovetop. We'll swing over the stovetop, and then we'll proceed. So, all right, I almost forgot to tell you how to not just make the recipe, but anyway, I got potatoes, and then pretty simple recipe. I got cream. I use heavy cream. I also have some milk. I'm using whole milk. You could do a combination of those. And then obviously a stick of butter. And again, my potatoes, I gave them a final rinse. You can see they're, I don't know, probably like a half of an apple size, so they'll take a little bit to cook. So again, we'll go over to the cooktop and, all right, check it in. They've been under the heat for probably 15 minutes or so, just starting to come to a simmer. Just gonna give them a stir, and got a lid on them, keep them going a little good. Again, they're quite big potatoes, so once they, they'll take a good, probably half hour to cook down. So, got the heat over medium. Don't want to roar and boil. Meantime, while I'm doing that, I got a little side pot here. I'm gonna get my cream and milk heated up. Obviously, you want to temper that with the potatoes. You don't want to put potatoes are hot out of the stock pot. You don't want to put cold cream and milk in them. It won't come out right. So I got this is a half a pint of whipping cream. I'm just gonna get that going. And again, I'm cooking about, I think it's probably just under 5 pounds potatoes, 4 or so. So half a pint of heavy cream, and then just some milk, probably 50-50. I'm just kind of eyeballing, so that's probably, a cup of milk. And just get that heated up and overload. All right, potatoes been going for about 15 minutes. I got my cream and milk steaming. So that's all you want. You don't want to boil it, so just keep it at a very low heat, or even turn it off. Potatoes, the best way to give them a check is just take one out. Obviously it's gonna be hot, and then just test it with a fork. Let's see if we can get this on camera better. You don't want to, it should be cooked through. You don't want to overcook potatoes. If you cook them too long, they'll just disintegrate, and then you just have mush. And one thing to remember is they'll carry over cooking. So just give it a taste. And they're very close. Still a little I call it medium in the middle. So I'm giving another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll rinse them, drain them, and then we'll do the fun part, which is the mash. So coming back. All right, here we go. Here's the fun part. So I got a bowl. Make sure you get a big bowl. Got my potatoes. I just drained them. One thing I meant to mention, there's no seasoning on these yet. There's no salt in the water, nothing. You're gonna build up the layers as you mash them. So make sure you strain them, let them rinse. Strain for a couple minutes, trying to get rid of any excess water into the bowl. They're certainly gonna be hot, so mind that. One trick I use, if you put it on the countertop, your bowl could just slide around. But if you get a towel, just a little damp towel, put the bowl on top, and that'll keep helping it from sliding. So just gonna start mashing. And you can see potatoes. Again, I cooked the potatoes, they're cooked, but they're not, you gotta keep in mind they'll be carryover cooking. They're still steaming hot, and it's best to undercook them a little bit. And like I said, all I'm doing is giving them a mash. I don't use a mixer. Some people use mixers. You can do that. I've actually never done that. I just do it by hand to control the consistency. And you can see that they're, you know, this tool works well, right? It just cuts right through the potatoes, and you start getting these grainy bits. So you want to start, you know, break it down as much as you can. You don't want to over mash it; it'll turn to glue. So it's a little bit of a science, you know, art, but you know, do it a couple times to get the hang of it. So once they get into like kind of like a wet sand consistency, we'll get our. Again, I got my hot cream and milk, and I said this is probably just 2 cups or so. So we're just going to eyeball about how much, so a little bit of time, and then slowly and just incorporate it. Better you don't want to add too much milk, because if it's too thin, you can't really make it thicker. But you can always add less milk and, you know, mix it and then add a little bit more and layer it up. So I like my potatoes a little more creamy. So, you know, if you like them chunky, or, you know, some people use less cream, but I like mine a little more rich and creamy. So again, you're just layering in, and I may not use all that cream and milk. Looks like it's going to be just about right. If you run out, I do have milk for backup. I can just, you know, reheat that on the stove and make sure, you know, don't put it in cold. But so we're starting to look, you know, just like mashed potatoes, and I think it's just going to be good, just right consistency. They do kind of, after they sit for a few minutes, thicken up again. So if you think they're too thin, just be patient, and you know, they'll absorb the extra milk and cream. Yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, just a little bit, final steps, a little bit at a time. Really simply recipe. Get a workout. Your arms and forearms are gonna be a little sore after this, so. All right, looking good. So at this point, I think I'm good on you can always start tasting consistency. Good. So I want to start incorporating my butter. I got a whole stick of butter. I'm not going to put all that in. I'm just going to put in, that's 1 pat. A pat is a tablespoon. We'll do 3 to get that started. Again, it's best to have your butter at kind of room temperature, you know, so it's, obviously it'll melt, but if it's a little soft, just incorporates better into the potatoes. And then really the only thing you got to season is, I just use salt and pepper. So salt, and you can just a little bit. You can always add more as you serve it, right, out of the dish. And I use white pepper. You can use fresh ground black. I prefer white. It is pretty potent, so just need a little bit. All right, the potatoes are mashed, and we're just going to put them in my serving dish. Just want to give them a final taste for consistency, as with any meal. The proof is in the final pudding, if that's the right phrase, but again, make sure it's good. So, really good, rich, creamy. Not too much salt and pepper, but I can taste it, so you can always add more at the end. And again, this is a 2-quart container, and there you have it, my final mashed potatoes. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Put this up, and see you again soon. Cheers.